All right, people. A little bit of technical difficulties to start out with, of course. We got to get better at that. But hope everyone's happy, healthy, successful, winning at life. Yeah, every time. Salute. So tonight we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about I just watched the end of SmackDown. Jacob Fatu doing the triple moonsault on LA Knight. I think LA Knight got hurt on one of them. Really, I'm interested to see what the fallout is for that one. Yeah, imagine a 280-pound guy doing a backflip on you, a moonsault. That's what the move is called. Um, that that was that was crazy, but that was after I watched Bill Maher. So, a programming note: we're not really going to talk about SmackDown tonight because next week we're going to do a full preview of WrestleMania. So WrestleMania is next Saturday and Sunday. 18 hours of content. 9 hours each night. Pre-game, show, post-game. Or not post-game, post-event. With all the press conferences and everything. So we're not going to talk about SmackDown tonight. We're not going to talk about all the wrestling story arcs today. We're going to save that for next week, and it's going to be completely next week's episode is going to be completely WrestleMania preview, start to finish, all 40 minutes to an hour of the WrestleMania preview. But tonight we're going to talk about the Champions League, and then we'll riff off that, and then we're going to talk about Real Time with Bill Maher. He's back after a 2-week layoff. Bill Maher is also went to the White House and had dinner with, it was him, Kid Rock, Dana White, Donald Trump, and I forgot who the other guy was. I didn't recognize him, but there's a photo. Bill Maher talked about it tonight on his episode. So we're going to do that tonight. And let's just start out with the Champions League. We're going to talk about the Arsenal game, which is the most fun Arsenal game I've ever seen in 14 years. All right, so let's tell a couple stories. I became an Arsenal fan when I lived in Florence. And we played Real Madrid that same year. So the 2005-2006 season, that's when I became a football fan. And I think I've told this story before. That's when I became a football fan. And that's when I was, the word is captivated, or I fell in love with the game. When I was living abroad, in Firenze, we've talked about this. There's a go. Also, we talked about this in the Drax Life. So the whole origin story is on the Drax Life. But I can tell it here quickly. So, in school, I studied abroad at NYU in Florence, and we lived on a street called Guido Monaco, which is by the train station Santa Maria Novella, which is walking distance from the Uffizi and the Duomo and the Arno. So it was, I could walk everywhere. I don't think I took public transportation apart from a few times. Florence is such a cool city. It's a beautiful place, magical place. But you could also, it's not that big, like the Boboli Gardens and everything. You could walk everywhere. You can just walk everywhere and get to any place. And I love walking. Anyone who knows me knows that I love walking. So that's when I started going to a Fiorentina game. So Fiorentina is my team as well. along with Arsenal, but I remember being at a dinner with the I believe it was our professor. It was our Italian professor when I was learning Italian, and it was the game between Real Madrid and Arsenal at the Bernabeu. It's always funny to me that English people um, pronounce it the Bernabeu, but in Spanish the correct pronunciation is Bernabeu, the Santiago Bernabeu. And Thierry Henry scored, and there's a famous 1-0 victory. And then back at Highbury in London, it was nil, and Arsenal went through. To face, who did we face in the semis? I think it was Juventus. I think you can let me look that up. Before we lost to Barcelona in the title, which was a crazy game too. Arsenal goes down to 9 men, and Sol Campbell scored the goal, but then Samuel Eto'o scored for Barca to equalize, and then Belletti scored for Barca to win. Hold on. Yeah, we need the facts here. Champions League. I believe it was Juve. Route to the final, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, here we go. This is what I want. Knockout phase. No, I was wrong. No, we did beat Juventus. Okay, no, all right. I had it right, but the wrong stage. Arsenal beat Real Madrid in the round of 16, the Galactico Madrid. And then we beat Juventus in the quarters, because I remember watching that in Florence as well. I knew we played Juventus, and then we beat Villarreal in the semis, and then we lost to Barcelona in the final. Look at those teams. We beat Real Madrid, and we beat Galactico Madrid and Prime Juve. We're going to get into some the more Arsenal talk tonight as well. Then we beat Real Madrid or Villarreal in the semifinal, and then we lost to Barcelona. God, we were playing just heavyweight matches right there. Wow. Yeah, I was right. I just had the stages wrong. And we played Real Madrid this week for the first time since that game. Since how old was I? I was like 20. I was like 19 or 20. And this is the first time we've played Real Madrid since then. Crazy. Since I was living in Italy. And what do you know? We've played Real Madrid in European competition 3 times, and we've never conceded to them. Knock on whatever. 3 games against Real Madrid, clean sheet each single time. And Declan Rice. Standing ovation, my guy. He turned into David Beckham for 90 minutes. 2 of the craziest free kicks I've ever seen. I was stunned. It's a stunning result. It's not one of those where everyone was writing us off or it's a rivalry type thing. Because, like I said, we haven't played Real Madrid in 20 years. That man turned into David Beckham with 2 of the wickedest free kicks you've ever seen in the same game. And for we haven't scored a direct free kick since, I would say, no, I wouldn't say this is a fact. This is not my opinion. Since September 2021 against Burnley, and even in the post match interview, Declan Rice even mentioned that it's been almost 4 full years. Yeah, so like 3.5 years. September 2021. It's been almost 4 full years since Arsenal have scored off a direct free kick in any competition. That's nasty work right there. That's terrible. What a terrible record. So if we're playing Madrid, no one thought we would win, and it's not like I was saying. It's not one of those David and Goliath type things. Oh, we toppled the giant, and people legitimately just completely wrote off Arsenal. I did. I didn't think we were going to be. Real Madrid have won 16 or they're 6 out of the last like 9 Champions Leagues, something crazy like that. I should also look that up too. But I don't want to turn this into a data research. You can correct me in the comments. I think Real Madrid have won like 6 out of the last 10 Champions Leagues, which is a ridiculous record. It's absolutely insane. Or like 5 or 6, something like that. And as you can tell now, I'm speechless. I don't even know what I just saw. Where has this team been for the last 5 years? I don't know what I just saw. We had everyone had. It's one of those games where everyone had the best performance of their life. That's the best game Declan Rice has ever played, ever, as a professional footballer, ever. And he has won a European trophy when he was the captain of West Ham. And he made a nice pass to Jared Bowen, who went clean through on goal and won the Conference League for West Ham, their first trophy in ages. So yeah, like I'm still reeling from that result. That was an unbelievable result. And it's the best since what we're going back to the nostalgia. It's the best game Arsenal have played since we were playing Barcelona in 2011, so 14 years ago. Yeah, Barcelona with Lionel Messi, PK, Puyol, Iniesta, Xavi Hernandez. Was David Villa there? I think it was. David Villa, Guardiola was the coach before he went to Bayern, and did they have Zlatan? No, I think Zlatan was a little. He was gone by then, and so dude, we're talking about like peak prime Barcelona, and Arshavin with the shush, and the Van Persie with an absolute rocket. Those two, we were losing to Barcelona. We were parking the bus on the back foot. Arsene Wenger was the coach for Arsenal, and or manager, I should say, because he had control of the transfers as well. And we beat Barcelona at the Emirates Stadium 2-1 after going down 1-0 and coming back with 2 wicked goals from Arshavin and Robin van Persie late in the second half. We haven't had a game like that until this past Tuesday night. Unbelievable. And Mikel Merino's finish also cold, running backwards from goal to just put the spin on it and like whip it bend it into the far corner. Crazy, man. Right against the post. That second free kick by Declan Rice from how far out was he? Like 45 yards out, banging it top bins. You if you walked up to the goal and you try to place the ball there, it would not have been as accurate as Declan Rice's kick with power and with whip on it. That's like remember the goal David Beckham scored in the 2006 World Cup against, I think it was Ecuador. It was like that when he just slapped it, bang, picked that out, upper 90 top bins, right into the side netting. Crazy. So there's a couple of questions that need to be raised now. Where has this performance been all season? Did they just rise to the occasion because it was Madrid? Did they has everyone just been downing tools the other games? How do you beat Madrid? It could have been 5 or 6 goals. If it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois, the Madrid goalkeeper, it would have been like 5 or 6-0. How can you do that to Real Madrid, the best club in the history of professional football, and lose to West Ham at home? Lose to Fulham. No disrespect, I actually like those two clubs as just the ethos of those two clubs, but how can you do that and then you turn up against um Everton, and you draw Everton, and then the next game you're completely pasting Real Madrid. This is the shit that fucking winds me up. So we had that in our locker the whole time, and we just blew it. It was it was like it was beautiful to see. It was the most fun game I've watched from Arsenal in 14 years. That's a long time. I'm an old man now. And we had with the Arshavin game, and that reminded me of the game a couple years before that Barcelona game where we just signed Arshavin, and then he scored the 4 goals. He did the 4 in the shush at Anfield. What a performance! What a player that guy is. That my talent ID. I can watch someone play. It doesn't matter what sport it is. I can watch someone play for 1 90-minute game, and I will tell you if they're a baller or not. And Russia was playing the Netherlands in Euro 2008, and I was like, "Who is this? Who is this Russian guy, Arshavin, in the on the left side of the attack? Like this guy is, and this guy is elite, dude." And this was young Andre back in the day, and I wanted him badly. He's like Ozil when I first saw Ozil against Ghana in the World Cup in 2010 when he was on Werder Bremen. Same thing, and they both ended up at Arsenal. Funny enough, two great players, but then they at the tail end of their career, their Arsenal career, kind of. But that's more like political stuff behind the scenes, which was a shame because both of those Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, Chile, big up Chile. Oh, big up Chile every time. Man has 2 Copa Americas. Again, they beat Messi twice in the final. Let's have it right. And Arshav, I believe that I've always asked all my Russian friends, and she knows who she is, Valentina. I hope she's well. Valentina said, "Yeah, it's not Arshavin, it's Arshavin. That's the correct way to pronounce it. I believe that's correct." So the stress is on the second syllable. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a stickler for pronunciations, like Ralph Lauren. It's Ralph Lauren. For everyone out there, it's Ralph Lauren. It's not Ralph Lauren. Unless you're French, then it's Ralph Lauren. Yeah, that's fine. If you're French, that's how you say that name. In English, it's Ralph Lauren. Just how anyone named Lauren is, that's how you pronounce it. It's the same way. I don't know where this Lauren came from. And Andrew Schultz, when he was doing his podcast tour of for his Netflix special, he was mispronouncing his name all over the gaff. It's crazy. So we have, we got those Champions League results. Greatest Arsenal game I've seen in 14 years since Barcelona, and then 2 years before that was the 4-4 Anfield game. And it's funny, I was during Christmas, during the festive fixtures in Philadelphia. Those people will know who they are. We were watching the same fixture, Liverpool against Arsenal, and there was another 4-4. You know how rare that is in English football to have a 4-4, especially between two big clubs like that. Two of the three biggest clubs in England. Yeah, proper Chelsea's. Nah. It's I would say it's United, Liverpool, Arsenal, then proper Chelsea. Those are the four biggest clubs in England. Man City still, no matter how their success is for the past 20, not 20 years, like 17 years, 2008, since Mansour took over, they're up there, but still the four biggest English clubs are those four. Man United is one, Liverpool's two, Arsenal, and Chelsea. So, since the 2-4-4s, two classic epic. One was December 2017. The other one was, I think it was a midweek game. It was both of them were night games. Actually, it wasn't the daytime. It wasn't early kickoff. And what year was that? What year was the Arshavin for? I think it was 2009. I think it was spring 2009. I could be wrong on that. Let's see. Let me see. Two classic. The other one was a Mesut Ozil masterclass, and the other one was obviously the Arshavin legendary 4-goal game. Let's see, when was that? If I got that right, yep, I knew it. 2009. I got it right. Of course. The memory's there. So, and I was watching that in a pub in Astor Place. If anyone from New York remembers the Astor, the Kmart at Astor Place, I was at Central Bar. Saw that there. But then Yossi Benayoun equalized at the death and ended 4-4. Arsenal should have won that game. And then the other one I watched during the holidays, it was right before, it was like 2 days before Christmas in 2017. Ozil, Salah was great in that game, and Ozil. Just classic Liverpool Arsenal game. So yeah, and then let's move on to the other Champions League results. Barcelona won 4-0. Man, and PSG looked unbelievable. The goals PSG scored in that game were just as good as Arsenal. Well, not just as good, because those two Rice free kicks were ridiculous. but PSG played incredible in that game. They're dangerous. So hopefully Arsenal gets through, and PSG still they still have to come to England and play to Birmingham, the Peaky Blinders. They still have to come to Birmingham and play Aston Villa. So there's Villa's not out of it. So we'll see. We'll see. But if it's Arsenal PSG, that's going to be crazy. And on the other side of the bracket, it's Barcelona, Dortmund. That's done and dusted. That's over. Barcelona's going through. And then in Inter and Bayern Munich, that's still in the balance. The next game is in Milan. I think it'll be, if you ask me, I think it's going to be Barca, Inter. You know what I'm going to say? This might be crazy. I think Aston Villa come back. I think it's going to be Arsenal Villa in the semifinal. That's my prediction for the two semis. Then it gets hairy. Then it gets hairy after that. Because Unai Emery who's the manager of Villa, he loves beating Arsenal. He was our ex-manager. We treated him like shit. The fans, not only did the fans, the Cronkies did too. We'll get to them. We'll get to those motherfuckers. Yeah, we're in a chill mood tonight. Even though I'm rocking the Stony, we're chilling tonight. I'm not going crazy, except for one thing. One thing did piss me off. Yeah. We got Dua Lipa. Shout out Dua Lipa. I don't listen to her music, but by all accounts and from what I've seen, she seems like she's cool. I don't care to listen to her music, but she was at the Emirates for the Arsenal game, and then she's doing up photo shoots, which it looks like, if you look at the picture, I'll show you, it looks like she doesn't even want to be there, with fucking Riccardo Calafiori, the Italian defender that we signed, that just looks like he got signed. All right, now I'm getting worked up. Fuck. Yeah. It looks like we signed him just so he can be a model. Man, let's get the picture up. Let's just get the picture up. There's Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa looks like she wants no part of this. Yeah. Look at her face. She looks like, and then Calafiori, what the fuck is this guy wearing? Those are the craziest Louis Vuitton pants you've ever seen in your life. He has the upside down zip jacket. What the fuck is this? And it looks like this guy got signed just so he can model merchandise. He got signed to be a model. And that's the problem. That's when I say we get to the Kronkets. That's the problem with Arsenal Football Club. We've become a fashion house. I've said this countless times. And a modeling agency. All for vibes. Aura. Calafiori, he's a wild horse. He has aura. His hair is flying in the wind when he's running down. Guy can't stay fit. He's played like 15 games all season. He gets injured. He comes back. 2 games later, he's injured again. What are we doing here, dude? And then look at the caption from the Arsenal official account. A night full of stars in M5. Woo! Yeah. Fuck you. How about that? Stars? When does Calafiori become a star? Dua Lipa, fair play. Even like I said, even though I don't listen to her music, she's a legitimate star musician. Okay. Why the hell is she at the Emirates Stadium? Has she ever watched a football game in her life? And like I said, nothing against her personally, but why is she there? Just to do a PR for the Cronkies? Is that why? Yeah, that's what I thought. She's not an Arsenal fan. And then you got Anne Hathaway singing songs about Arsenal too. Let's play that clip. Let's play that shit. That. Oh God, I gotta find it. All right, I'm gonna keep talking about it. Why I find it and all right, so it's gonna be hard to find. It's on now. We're gonna find it. We have to. When did Anne Hathaway become an Arsenal fan? No, I think in fair play, I think she is actually an Arsenal fan. Yeah, there we go. She's singing Arsenal Forever. God. Yeah. Look at ES posted by ESPN. Anne Hathaway after we beat Real Madrid. Posted by ESPN, Disney. Yeah. Singing North London Forever. It just never ends, dude. It never ends with these people. They get the hype machine, the PR. We won one game. We've been dog shit for 5 years. You win one game against Real Madrid. Everybody starts coming up. You're getting Dua Lipa out. You're getting Anne Hathaway out. Come on, man. How like is it not obvious to anyone else what's happening? And shout Anne Hathaway, Catwoman, salute, nothing wrong. And I think she's actually a proper Arsenal fan. Dua Lipa, what the fuck is she doing in the Cronkies owners box at the game? What the fuck is going on with Calafiore, who's wearing the just what is he wearing? Dude. Why did we sign this guy to be a merchandise model? It looks like it. Guy can't play. The guy can't stay fit. He hasn't kicked a ball. He did score a nasty goal against Man City in way early in the season, but that's what's he done after that? Honestly, but he's a wild horse. He looks so good on the pitch. Oh, God, give it a rest, man. I said I was chill, then I got worked up. I can't stand this shit. I can't stand the PR. I can't stand the constant like trying to insult the fans' intelligence, and the fans are to blame too because they just eat it up. All right, we're getting. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about Bill Maher. Yeah, we went. Yeah. Oh, one more thing. Man United is a shambles right now. How the mighty have fallen, and look how far proper Chelsea, United, and the biggest bottle jobs in the history. Shout out Nick Papagiorgio Chiellini. It's the history of the Tottenham. The biggest bottle jobs in the history of English football. Spursy. They might get knocked out by Frankfurt. They might get knocked out in that game. They got to go to Frankfurt, Germany, and they have to win the game. Woo! Woo! I think United will still get through because the second leg against Lyon, Olympique Lyonnais, it's in Manchester, so they got a slight advantage, even though it's tied. But Spursy. That might be another year. It might be another year without a trophy. That's since 2008. The last time Spursy won a trophy, I wasn't even in law school. We'll leave it right there. So let's get the compo out, and let's go to Bill Maher. Um, the new rules for Bill Maher, or not new rules. You got to start at the monologue. The monologue. So Bill was off for 2 weeks. The monologue was good. They were talking about the tariffs. There's some good jokes in that monologue, talking about the tariffs and the trade wars and all the deportation that's happening, the border control. But then Bill did a interesting segment which he's never done before. So in lieu of his editorial, he went to the White House and he had dinner with Trump, which I said earlier. And you know what Bill said? And I respect this, which is what I've been saying for years and years. Bill said Donald Trump and him, like, they got along. Even though Trump has tried to sue him before, they always go at each other online. But he said in person, Donald Trump is all right. Like, I disagree with a lot of what he does, but he's an all right guy. And what I found was interesting is that you can sit down with imagine having dinner, a pleasant, enjoyable dinner with someone who tried to sue you. Or in the reverse, from Trump's perspective, someone that every week calls you out on the talk show. Or I'm not, how would I describe Bill Maher? I would call it just a good show. Real Time is, I've said this before, Real Time is the best, like, commentary show on television. I'll have that conversation with anyone. But and they got along. And it's interesting, Bill's little segment there, it wasn't little, it was long, it was like 15 minutes. That's why there was no editorial. That was basically the editorial. They liked they didn't like each other, but it was cordial, it was fine. Bill Maher was telling jokes at Trump's expense. Trump was laughing. He laughs at him. And the main takeaway was Bill said, this guy, he basically confirmed what I always thought as well. When he gets in front of the camera in terms of a political setting, he turns on a little bit of a character, but behind the camera, when there's no video rolling, he's a different guy. So it's basically confirmed that he turns into some kind of like character. So it is that is part of it. That is part of his appeal. It's almost like it's almost like pro wrestling too. So it's almost a performance when he's doing that, which, like Bill said in his monologue, you could like it, you could not like it, but I'm telling you the facts of what happened. And he said the dinner was fun, everyone was in a good mood, they were joking with one another, everything was cordial, everything was fine. And if there were certain people that didn't want this dinner to happen, and there's on both sides, I'm talking complete as a centrist. On both sides this is coming, but it's like, Bill Maher was like, it was kind of a cool experience. So let's think, what's wrong with sitting down with someone and having a conversation? You could disagree, none of them were insulting each other. It's just sitting down, breaking bread. Literally what the meaning of breaking bread is: sitting down, breaking bread, and just having a conversation. And then you got Kid Rock there, and then you got Dana White, and the fourth guy I can't remember. So it was just them just hanging out. Differences of opinion, hashing it out, asking questions. Everything went well. And Bill Maher has some good jokes about the what. I won't ruin it. You go watch it. Go watch it. It's a really good description of what should be going on in especially in America, of you, just because someone voted for the party that you dislike doesn't mean they're an evil person and need to be publicly humiliated, and that I wouldn't dare sit down with them because I am you're a Democrat, I hate you. You're a Republican, I immediately hate you. How about we just sit down and talk? Why the fact that that's become difficult is crazy. And then he had Steve Bannon on with the 1v1 segment. They were talking about Steve Bannon was just got out of prison because of the committee, the January 6th stuff, and here Bill Maher handed him the Constitution, which was funny, and they revealed that Steve Bannon said Trump is going to run for a third term. He's going to try to figure out a way, which I do believe. Steve Bannon said he's going to win. He's going to do a back to back. So, according to Steve Bannon, Trump will be the president for the next 8 years. Interesting, but go check that out. Steve Bannon went to jail, and Bill Maher made some funny, and then some funny prison jokes. Yeah, you gotta sneak in the lowbrow cheap shots. It was funny. And then the panel was Piers Morgan. Yeah, this was a jam-packed show. Piers Morgan and Josh Rogan, but not Gan Rogan, Gin. And he had a massive overreaction. In my opinion, he had a massive overreaction to Bill's White House meeting. He's one of the guys that was like, I'm upset that you just sat down with him to talk. Like he was saying that Trump did this as a PR stunt, and I don't think he did. I think this was a genuine, authentic, just let's have a conversation with each other. We never liked each other, but let's sit down and just talk. But Josh Rogan apparently thinks that this was some type of manipulation tactic by the Republicans. And then Piers Morgan was talking about the market crash. They were talking about the Gaza Strip again, and we know this on my channel. I'm not interested in anyone's opinion about Gaza if you don't first understand the history of Judaism and Islamic culture for millennia. If you don't know that, I'm not interested to hear what you're talking about. You better understand that and inform yourself first before you start opining. I know that sounds like gatekeeperish, but it's true. You got to understand the history of that region of the world and not just use it as a political talking point just so you can take a side. Nah. Understand the culture and the heritage and the traditions and the people. I've said this many times. I'm not interested in any conversation about this unless you know that the historical significance first. It's not a, what do they call, what's the term? The political football. It's not a political football, man. Just so you can score points. Nah. And then the new rules is a stock. They were talking about the stock market joke, like the tariffs when Trump goes, we're banning all these countries. Everyone's calling me to make a deal. And then he goes, psych, whoops, gotcha. Tariffs are off for 90 days, except China. But was that done intentionally, or did he did the entire administration read the room and say maybe this is not the best time to go deep into that? But there was that this, and one of my friends, I won't name him because he has a pretty high position. He knows who he is. If he'll hear this, he'll know because he said this to me. The picture of all the Wall Street guys like this. The picture of all the Wall Street guys like this week is hilarious, and that's what the new rules was about. And one of my friends made the same joke during the mortgage crisis in 2008 when we were in law school class together. He said the same joke. He had the joke 17 years before Bill Maher did. It's the same thing. These the guys on the trading floor losing their mind, and then once the tariff was gonna say like suspension, I guess you would call it, or pause or delay. I don't know which way you want to frame it. After that, skyrocketing again. So maybe it was intentional, maybe it was unintentional. I don't know. We don't get. Listen, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to like foreign policy and financial, like the like global economics. I'm not the guy for that. We're here to land the truth. All right, that's it. So next week, I'm sorry I got worked up a little bit about the Cronkies. I just wanted it to be a chill episode. Yeah, but when you're rocking, when the badge is in, anything can happen. We're gonna do just the whole episode. Forget about real time. I'll watch it, but it's this episode. We're gonna do the last hour of SmackDown watch along, and and then we're gonna preview WrestleMania. The whole show is gonna be SmackDown watch along in conjunction with the WrestleMania preview, which is next weekend in Las Vegas. 18 hours of content. Think about that. We'll talk about that next week. Think about producing a live program for 18 hours. 9 hours on Saturday, 9 hours on Sunday. Think about all that has to go into producing content for that long. Live content. Anything can happen. Right? It's not edited. There's no post production. There's no editing. So I'll see you next week. WrestleMania next week is big for Bobby A. WrestleMania weekend. All right, we're out. Everyone have a good night. As we always say, hope everyone's happy, healthy, successful, winning in life. We're out.